my heart is so full that I could not resist the opportunity to share the inspiration that I've experienced over the past few days. So we're changing the question today to what does freedom mean to you? So I'm going to kick us off with a quote from Herbert Hoover. Freedom is the open window through which pours the sunlight of the human spirit. Let's roll that tape. Good morning, and welcome to the Daily Huddle. Many of us are still in holiday mode, so I'm especially grateful for these loyal folks who are here with me today. So let's get started with the questions that put us right here together on the Daily Huddle. And Chase, I'm just feeling your energy this morning. I am all about Chase Steele Gray today. So I'd like to start with you and ask you, please tell me, where are you and what are you grateful for?
Well, it's so kind of you to say those things. I appreciate you. Where am I? Well, I'm right here where I need to be, completely in the right position. And today I am grateful for forward motion in general.
Forward motion. Ooh, I love that. I'm always seeking. And so I love the motion aspect. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Fareed, good morning. Would you please tell us all what time it is and who will you hug today?
Oh, the time is now. And I'm going to hug me. I'm going to hug me today.
Oh, I love that. I wish that I could hug you today, but one day I hope we'll make that happen.
Oh, yeah.
I would love that. Ronald, I love when you are on the Daily Huddle. It makes my day. So please tell me, how are you?
Hey, Tara and everybody. I am fully self-expressed.
Ooh.
Nothing is under the rock. It's all there.
This is so perfect to kick us off for what we're going to talk about today. Thank you for saying that. Fully self-expressed. To me, do you think that being fully self-expressed is a form of freedom? I would agree. So, I've experienced over the past 4 days something that I think, well, there's no doubt, I will never forget the trip that I took with my family to the beach. And I experienced a form of freedom that I've never witnessed before. So we had one question ready for today, and I just felt compelled to share it. What I'd like to do before I share my experience and hope that it will inspire you to really think about what freedom means to you is I want to take us back. Some of you know that I'm writing a memoir from a section of my life. And I want to take us back to, excuse me, I got a tickle. I want to take us back to when I think I was first understanding what freedom meant to me. So I'd like to take you back and read a little excerpt from my book. And then I want to jump forward to the freedom that I witnessed today. And then the most important part of this Daily Huddle will be hearing from you and what freedom means to you. So this is back, I would say about 2007. So pretty long time ago, okay? And back in 2007, I had children in high school, middle school. And I was an avid, faithful cigarette smoker. And I was also an avid, faithful person who got on the thing called the Total Gym. I don't know if y'all remember the Christy Brinkley and then what's the famous guy's name with all the muscles? Anyway, they always advertised this machine with the pulleys and people would buy them because they would transform your life, and then people never used them.
Billy Blanks, I think.
What'd you say?
I think it was Billy Blanks, was it?
No, I can't even, he's been in the movies. it'll come to me. I apologize. But anyway, the thing's called the Total Gym. And most people would buy this thing and then they would use it twice and then they'd hang their clothes on it. Well, I was the strange person who actually used the Total Gym. So this little excerpt is going to take us back to about 2007. And I was about to jump on my Total Gym. On this Friday afternoon, I was going to plug in my iPod. You can see how long ago that is, and tear up the Total Gym. I select a playlist of Prince, Rod Stewart, AC/DC, Alanis Morissette, Four Non-Blondes, and Janis Joplin. Listening to Janis Joplin croon about Bobby McGee just takes me into a land of my own. What does she say about freedom? And this was actually originally written by Chris Christopherson, but she sings, "Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose." As much as this song fires up my soul, I realize I don't agree. Sorry, Janis. Rest in peace, my sister. I am learning about what freedom means to me. I think back to the day my kids learned of my little best friend. Yep, they learned about my biggest shame, my cigarettes. We were out in California for Caroline's biofeedback experiment. What a crock of BS and thousands of dollars down the crapper, by the way. But we were at a hotel out in Hollywood, California, getting ready to go out to eat. I hurried along so I could go down and smoke before we all leave. I announced I was ready and would wait downstairs. My 3 children, Wilson, Caroline, and Holly, all jumped on the chance to go down with me and dazzle strangers with their Southern accents. I looked at those beaming faces, and in that moment, I decided to be honest. I decided to stop trying to present perfection to my children. Well, I'm going outside to have a cigarette, I announced boldly. Wilson said he already knew, and the girls were stunned. The questions and comments were very direct. I answered honestly about my shame, about how addicted I was, and how I feared if they knew that they too would smoke one day. My kids saw a new side of their mom that day. They saw a flawed human woman who was still trying to be a better version of herself. It was freeing. It was a small bite, but it fully whet my appetite for freedom. So I lie on my belly on this Total Gym, feel my shoulders and biceps pull my weight. So I lie on my belly, feel my shoulders and biceps pull my weight up the incline, and I think about freedom. I think about slavery, the truest form of human captivity. Are today's ancestors of slaves even really free? Here we are almost 150 years since the Civil War ended, and still, as I define freedom, few are free. I wonder if they often feel caged, much like I do. There are consequences still today for people of color to fully own their truth. And then I see lily white suburban people who have much less to fear from society, and they too put a veil over their truth. They tell their friends about the splendid perfection of their spouse, the latest feat of their 2 gifted children, and the weekend they had tailgating with peach-flavored vodka, buffalo chicken dip, and a cornhole tournament. My hands are sweating as I grip the handles of the Total Gym harder and keep pulling my body up the slope. What is freedom really? What are the ramifications of finding out? All these people who seem to live for college football and trips to Destin, Florida, I thought they were the free people. And perhaps they are as free as they wish to be. But not me. I'm not free. I shield my truth. But why? What am I afraid of? So that was a very long time ago. And I think I was just discovering what freedom could mean to me and how I could model it for my family. Ironically, so this was 2007, and as many of you know, in 2014, my son at the age of 22 was sentenced to prison. And he walked free about 18 months ago. And when he walked out, the transformation and the things that he experienced were just like constant life lessons for his mom. And I thought, this will wear off. This fascination with every little luxury of life, every little sandwich I make him, or every walk we take in the forest, this will wear off. So here we are 18 months later. And my son and my daughter and my husband and my son's girlfriend and her 11-year-old daughter went to the beach for a few days, where we spent the days in the ocean and the evenings watching my little brother crush it on his guitar. And guess what? The delight and freedom for my son has never worn off. And I had to share this because I watched a 33-year-old man play like a 7-year-old in the ocean, riding waves and then walking up to strangers and joining them in their soccer game or their volleyball game, taking his little sister Caroline on a walk at the speed that she chose, slowing down, speeding up, feeling the vibration of the ocean and the energy of the beach. And then we would shower and go to my brother's gig, where there's alcohol everywhere, which is why my son went to prison. And this strong man drinking his water probably was enjoying those moments, watching my brother do what he does with the guitar with such delight and such reckless abandon that I think that I experienced freedom and gratitude like I never have before. And so I wanted to share this experience with you, my Daily Huddle family, so that you might remember it. I hope that you do, and inspect a little bit what freedom means to you. Because I'll tell you what, it's a long time since I was on that total gym in 2007. And I'm still learning what freedom means to me. But I think a big part of it is just completely letting our head fall back and let us delight in every moment with all of our might. So it's, we're going to have to check out of here in 45 minutes. And they are downstairs actually waiting for me. And I will tell you that between watching my son delight in nature and watching his girlfriend and her daughter, who are from Venezuela and speak very little English, and their gratitude to dance on the ocean and play volleyball and swim in the waves and listen to music, is something that truly has transformed me forever. So I'd like to ask you what freedom means to you. Cece, good
Wow,
morning.
that was quite a bit of emotion that stirred up for me too. Thank you for sharing that so much with us. I don't know, it seems to me that it posed a question for me. It made me think about freedom exactly the way you mentioned it, as being really just enjoying the moment that you're in and being grateful for it. And then on the flip side of it, for me, I would have to say that's the same thing too. To really, really see and to feel the love that you have being around those that you love, and love for life itself, just being present in life and all that life brings us, that nature gives us, however it is, whether it's rain or whether it's sun or grass or whether it's snow or whatever it is, enjoying that in a moment. But the flip side of it made me wonder, what about when that moment is so painful and so horrendous? How is that freedom too? How do you enjoy super painful moments in the moment? How do you make yourself enjoy that?
You know what?
Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that, Stan. And I brought something else with me. And Cece, I see your hand. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. But you really set the stage for something else I wanted to share along these lines. And it is this book that I'm reading. Big shocker. It's called Inciting Joy by Ross Gay. And he's really originally a poet. And he's written many just beautiful books that I just absolutely savor. And when he wrote Inciting Joy, he got some pushback. How can you write about joy in a time like this with all the pain there is in the world and all the suffering? What the hell? Why are you writing about joy? And this book, Stan, takes you through essays of how pain is the part of the ingredient of joy. It is part of it. Without pain, without suffering, we don't have the capacity to experience joy. And so I think about watching my son out there in the waves and his family who wouldn't be at the beach without my assistance, and how they embraced that and their joy. That was freedom. That was freedom. So I encourage you all to check this book out. It's like a treasure to me. So I'll read something from it after I hear from a few others about what freedom means to you. Cece, good morning.
Good morning. I'm so glad to hear you share. That gives me joy to hear your share from your heart. Freedom to me is exactly the way you describe being present with your family, with people who are most important, and experience life. Life means joy. That means the emotion of being filled with God's joy and peace, and being present, not distracted by anything, but being present with the people who are most important. Freedom to me also is being free from any bondage, any type of thing, and being free to do what aligns with God. That means peace and joy and love, and cultivating the right wants and living in alignment with God's will. And I believe that being present with your family, enjoying nature, is God's will for us to enjoy everything right where it is, with nothing else but being present with the people who are with you. That means the people that love you, that you love them and they love you back, and no conditions, just being present with them. And I just love it. So I'm intentional about doing what pleases God instead of doing whatever I want to do, and get selfishness, self-centeredness out of the way, and look to the beauty that's in everything and every person. And I think I said enough. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Cece. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that this has touched you. And I love hearing how you define freedom. I think truly we should give how we define freedom some thought, because I think due to our life experiences and due to our genetics, I think both of those have something to do with how we define freedom. And I have learned that I genetically am a very creative person. So for me to put a filter on that makes me feel caged, the opposite of free. And then there are other folks, especially people of Black and brown skin, and their experience and their conversations around what freedom means to them it just fires up my heart. And so however we feel today that feels free, we have to savor it, and I think explore it. And I hope that today will inspire us to do that. Good morning, Sorrel.
Good morning, Tara. So first of all, thank you for giving yourself the freedom to be moved, touched, and inspired by your experience over the weekend and everything, like every bit of emotion you were feeling, I felt. And they may be different, but it generated so much for me. And I wanted to thank you for that. And you said people of brown and Black skin, that there's a way, and it didn't show up for me until you said that. Like there is a way freedom shows up for me that is specifically given by that. So freedom for me is to be able to stand for others to be free. Like wherever I am, no one shall ever be not free. and
Oh,
that's
it's
freedom
so
for me.
beautiful.
And that's freedom for me, right? It gives me joy to stand for that. And it gives me joy to give my life over to that stand.
Hmm.
Wherever I am, people are free and sovereign. And that's freedom for me.
Oh, wow. That is absolutely so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I feel sometimes a little like, who am I to even talk about freedom? I don't have the history that your family does, or Ronald's, or Giovanni's. My family doesn't have that history. But my empath gene just fires up when I think about the history and how we define freedom. And at the end of the day, I think we have to choose to be free so that we can help others, just like you said. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's really prophetic.
Tara, hang on one second, Gio. Something happened over the trip this past weekend. I was on a trip. Okay. And I'm driving down, and it's just some random billboard with a logo of a company using a Native American figure. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, it just overwhelmed me. I was at once sad and proud. And that stand that I'm talking about, that no one shall ever be not free where I am, was present for me in that moment. And it just got triggered by that. Mm. And so I want to thank you for giving me the permission to be free that way and to share that emotion of being sad and proud, having reverence for an entire people who may have not experienced freedom and maybe stood for it in a way that I never have seized the opportunity to do that.
I find your perspective courageous. And I don't know that you see it that way, but I certainly do. When I was last night up with my little journal and pen, just trying to get more inspiration around the word freedom, I kept running across this, and it said, the secret of happiness is freedom. The secret of freedom is courage. And you think back to who I was on that Total Gym all those years ago and watching the people around me try to present perfection to the world. That's not happiness, and that's not freedom. And maybe it does take a little bit of courage.
Good, Tara.
Thank you, Sorrel. Gio, did you change your mind?
No, I just took the handout. As I was looking at the conversation, there were different directions in which my mind was connecting to. But the one that I mostly was connecting to today around the world, around this conversation of freedom, what got triggered for me today is that most of my life I've been inside of a box. I live my life inside of a box that frames my thinking and my actions, and I never quite know how. I've never quite realized how jailed I am until I'm out.
Right.
And so when I think of freedom in that context, many different contexts to look at, but when I think of freedom in that context, I think for me, freedom points to the continuous work of self-reflection to discover the walls I am already in. I have found during my life that the walls that I am already in put other people that I care about and I love inside of my walls. And so I have been in my life constantly jailing people or incarcerating people inside of my walls. And so, so my life in many ways has been, it's about discovering the walls I am already in which I encapsulate people. And for me, freedom is discovering those walls. And the more that I get to do that, the more I can free, if you will, other people from their walls. Mm-hmm. But I can't do it until I see my walls. And absent of looking at the walls I'm already in, I don't have the I want to say it this way, the curated self-expression. Like, I don't have the tools to actually have people see what they are encapsulated in. So that's, for me, that whole aspect points to freedom. And the last thing I want to say, and from there, one of the things that I'm mostly proud of in my life is to support people who are jailing others or who are keeping others inside of a jail, if you will, of supporting people to get out of that. Mm-hmm. Parents doing that, mothers doing that, significant others doing that.
Yes.
And so that's what freedom points to today.
Oh, wow. It's thank you for sharing that. I think that is so insightful. It causes me to think back to, why I have had to build this muscle, this practice of freedom. And I think that I was raised in a time where you worried about what was appropriate and acceptable, and that drove us. And today, I think being appropriate is simply leading with character. And it's not our job to make other people feel safe and comfortable, right? As long as we're acting in integrity, then be free, baby. Ronald.
This is exciting, and I remember my ever walking into the landmark world, although it was always, I want to be self-expressed. That's been my drive, being self-expressed. So when I actually find my artwork, to be my source, my channel, and it was like, it's been just such a great joy, and that joy is almost like drug, like this is what it is, and it's like, what's next? There's a what's next that come with this, that is just that I can never stop. Mm-hmm. And now every summit, I'm looking for the next summit. Every summit, I'm looking for the next summit. So I guess to really summarize it, thinking of Sorrel and Gio in the context of helping others expressing themselves, I'm looking what's the next level of artwork that will allow me to express myself for others inside of my artwork. Yeah. So it's just been phenomenon to the point where when I'm in my studio that I am like, I mean, whether if it's a portrait where, I realize, unconsciously when I'm doing a portrait for someone, I pray for that person. I am in deep connection with that person that I'm creating portrait. So in abstract art, it goes the same. It's just like the freedom the freedom that is acquired there is just a nonstop. It's just nonstop, you know. So I am very, very happy for really continuing into that self-expression quest. I mean, I think we all should really look at self-expression as the way of living on a daily basis. You know, like nothing uncovered. Everything is right here, right now, right on. Thank you.
That is a big slice of wisdom and a great reminder. And I'm so happy for you that you have that source where you can get that inspiration, that creativity. I know we are over, and I have I appreciate the conversations and your support in my sharing what freedom is continuing to mean for me. A couple quick things I jotted down, which I think I'll leave you with, are a couple different definitions of freedom, all which I couldn't pick one. So one would be the opposite of hiding, the absence of pretense. Yes, I love that. Letting go of comparison, which you can learn so much through a yoga practice, ... And I think freedom is, this is probably my favorite, the power to act without compulsion. I love that. Let's close us out with our 7 tenets. Remember to love. Love freely, right? And throw your head back and laugh. Laugh freely. Give with all your heart and generosity. Give freely. And eat your plant so that you can stress less and sleep better. And above all, baby, freely move that body. Thank you for being here on the Daily Huddle. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Excellent job.
I gotta go out of the house now.